To remind you guys, make sure you are going back and checking your grade book. If you have zeros, make sure you're submitting those. The other thing I want to point out on this kind of scrolling announcements is this need to knows. So on Friday of last week, we started our knows and need to knows for a new project called If I'd Only Known. Okay. So you all went in and submitted, looking at the project, you all went in and did the entry event, and you looked at the If I'd Only Known entry document. You did the entry document highlighting for knows and need to knows, and then you did the career interest test assignment, which you looked at like what future careers you might be interested in. So the list that I came up with, looking at what you all submitted, these are our need to knows. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on those need to knows here. Make sure you can see that. So need to knows. So what is smart research? We're going to talk about that today. How am I a good researcher? So a lot of you all wrote in your knows that you know how to research, but you had that need to know of what is smart research. Second is it should say what profession am I going to research? Not what is profession, but what profession am I going to research? And within that, we ask questions like what education level or training do I need to have for that profession? What's the cost of education, requirements for the training, projected salaries, work environments? We're going to start looking into that today because you all kind of already know from taking that little test about your future profession. You kind of know what you're going to be doing. The next is what is the projected salaries, work environment, so on and so forth. So the next is how do I know if a source is credible? Okay, I think a lot of y'all put in there that you know what a credible source is, but we're going to teach you what is the CRAP test. We're going to do that tomorrow. But what is the CRAP test, and how do I really know if the sources that I found through smart research are good sources that I can trust and that I should use for my research? Okay. The next is how do I use MLA format? We'll talk about that. What and how do I use a works cited page? We'll talk about that. And then finally, how do I create or write a career pathway brochure? A few of y'all put like, why are we making brochures? My eventual goal is to create kind of a class set of professions that you all can actually pull from and say, oh, actually, I wanted to be a dentist, and someone else already researched that for me, so maybe y'all can work together and look at those together. That's kind of the general idea for this project. Usually in this project, we will have a career fair at the end of this where I bring in professionals from the community. You all get to talk to them. Obviously, that's going to be really difficult to do with distance learning, but maybe whenever we get back in person, we can kind of maybe do that toward the end of the year, or maybe right when you get back, whenever we can have more people and guests and things like that in to meet with us. So those are our knows and need to knows. Those are what we're focusing on, trying to accomplish, trying to make happen. So let's go down to what we're going to be doing today. So we went over our knows and need to knows for this project, and we know kind of our path to go. The first thing we're going to take care of and making sure is marking off that what is my profession that I'm going to research, because I want to hear from each of you all. And also I want you to be able to see what other people put. We're going to do a little activity where we're all going to do a profession selection for the whole class. So everyone's going to find their name and put the profession that they're going to be researching. And if you see someone else that has the same profession, maybe you all can talk, and maybe you can set up something. And it might require something later to where you all have a conversation. We'll see. Number 3. We're going to do a smart research workshop and talk about what does smart research look like, and kind of just some information on whenever we go out to research, what should we be looking for and how do we search. And then number 4, benchmark 2. So we're going to knock out 2 benchmarks today. Benchmark 2, and that's going to be finding sources for my future career. So now that, once we get benchmark 1 done, you can't move on to benchmark 2 until you have benchmark 1 done. We need to know what our profession is so we can go out and look for sources for your future career. So let's jump right into it. Let's go down to benchmark 1. So we go down to our project, If I'd Only Known project, and we scroll down. Everyone right now go to that benchmark 1 profession selection whole class list. So I'm going to open that up, and you're just going to click on that Google Doc. It will take you right to a Google Doc that you can edit. Okay. So this is and I see Ben Austin's already done his from 5th and 6th. And I'm actually in 5th and 6th right now. I'm going to pull up third and fourths for us. But you guys are clicking on that link and opening up what you are going to do. You're going to find your name on that list, and then right next to it, just you can put just the word of the profession. So if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a astronaut, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to go into the military, whatever it might be, put that next to your name. So I'm going to give you all time right now to go in and write down what you want to do in the box next to your name. And just to say this, you don't have to you're not choosing your future career forever, and this doesn't have to ultimately be exactly what you do. So whatever you choose is okay. You're just exploring a profession that you might be interested in. So you're not choosing something that's going to make us push you in that direction from now on. You're just experiencing and exploring what you might be interested in. I'm seeing someone wrote in the Echo chat or the Google Meet chat that Benchmark 2 and Smart Research aren't in the Echo list. It looks like people are able to find them. Now, so Benchmark 1 won't be in the Echo list because I don't have it there as an assignment yet. So it won't be in your to-do list, but Benchmark 2 should be in your to-do list. We'll talk about that when we get there. So you're just going to have to go down and look for it. If you're having trouble finding that, let me know. I can show you how to find that again. So I'm looking down through the list at all the different jobs. We have a very diverse set of jobs. Really excited to see all these different jobs. I'm seeing someone put lawyer. My wife is a lawyer, so I could, if you're interested in talking to a lawyer, I might be able to set something up for you. My uncle's a doctor. See someone put electrical engineering. My father-in-law is an electrical engineer. So I know a lot of people that we can set something up. Maybe we can do something small. So if you're really, really interested in kind of like asking those people questions, send me an email with your questions, and at minimum, I can forward it to them. I see someone putting, I want to make video games or games. One of my best friends from Virginia might be one of our community partners in the future, is a game designer, and he has published a couple of games. He does board games mainly. But he's pretty awesome to talk to about this stuff. So good deal. Give you all another minute because some of y'all are writing out sentences, which is fine. All right, so that should have been enough time for you all to get in there and write down the careers you're interested in. I'm excited to see the diversity and how many different people want to do very different things. Let's go back to Echo. But this is, remember that profession that you chose, because that is the profession that you are actually going to be researching later on. So if you wrote down kind of a very generic, like I saw someone said, I want to start my own business. Not that that's generic, but like, what exactly is the business you want to start? You want to be a business owner. So maybe you're looking into getting a business degree or business license or something like that. But like, the more specific you are, the easier it is going to be to research. Okay. So we got benchmark 1 done. We got number 1 on the list done. Number 2 on the list. So benchmark 1 done. So let's look at number 3. We're going to do a little smart research workshop. If you want to take notes, you just need one piece of paper, and we're going to look at what SMART stands for. And that's really what I want you to walk away from, is whenever you're researching, looking for that. So if you go down here, there's a folder called Smart Research and Crap Test Workshop Info. If you open that up, you can see the Smart Research information. You can follow along with me. I will have the PowerPoint up on my computer. You're welcome to go and open the PowerPoint yourself, but I will have it open here, and you can just watch it in the Google Chat, okay, or Google Meet. So everybody should be able to see this. Please let me know if you can't, but I think you can. So smart research. Let's talk about what it means to be a smart researcher, because we all know how to just go and simply type something into Google. That's part of our life. But let's be smart about it when we research, okay? Because there is a lot of information out there that is worthless, or that people are just making up because they want to influence you in some way. So let's talk about how that works. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to ask some group questions. I want you, number 1, to individually be thinking about this. Usually I have you all sitting in a group talking about this in class, but since we're doing distance learning, you're going to kind of be reflecting in your own mind. I'll bring up the Google Meet on my other computer. So if you want to answer the question into the Google Meet and just pop in an answer real quick, you can do that. You don't have to. But that might be a fun way to do this. So let me go into that Google Meet real quick. I'll join on my other computer. And that way I can see both. So the first question, so you can be thinking about it, is how do we get information today? So if you want to be thinking about that, or if you want to go in and write into the Google Meet, right into the Google Meet spot, you can, I have it up. So you can send a message in and you can say, how do we get information today? So I'll give you like 30 seconds. How do we get information today? Okay, I don't have anyone writing in the Google Meet. I'm going to wait until at least one person writes a way that we get information today. So I'm waiting on you all. Okay, sorry. Google. Yeah, we get information from Google. If I asked you, someone else said, the internet, research, duh. Yeah, research. We get information. Probably one of the biggest ways that we get information is through Google, okay? My friend and I were joking the other day about how debates about simple stuff is kind of boring now, because whenever you have a debate, you can just go Google it. You're just like, oh, I'll just Google it, I can get the information. We were arguing what is the number 1 food eaten in the United States, and we were like arguing pizza or hot dogs or something like that. And the sad truth was it was bread. Bread is the number 1 type of food eaten. We're like, oh, okay. So information is easy to get today because you can just find it really quick. Someone put my brain. I get information from my brain. Sure, you get information from your brain. You also get information from your friends or your family or the news or all these different things. So, all right, let's keep going. When you're trying to get information today, where do you go first? So I already see some examples up here of Firefox, the internet, your brain, Google. Awesome. What sources of information are available to us today? Obviously, it's what we've been talking about, Google, internet, all of these. And then the last one, this is what I want you to think on for just a second. How can knowledge be power? Okay. So I want you to think about how can knowledge be power? And I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Think about that. Write that in the Google chat if you come up with anything.
Yes. It's a new way to do attendance.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so someone said Gavin said it gives us power to think about things. William said you can have power over others if you are smarter. For example, you could get a better job. Nice. So, power or knowledge of a subject lets you get a better job. You can make more money. Hence, money equals power is an argument. Okay. You can outsmart someone. You can be good in business. Yeah, you can be smarter than someone. You can, if you know the next step in something, you can make the change. If you know how to do something that others can do, you can use it to your advantage. You can win a game of chess. So yeah, knowledge can be power for sure. As a historian, knowledge is everything, because if we look at the top 10 revolutions in the world, and we look at the top 10 catastrophes or terrible moments like war or famine or things like that, the people that come out on top are the people that control the knowledge, that control the power. We're going to look at the Bolshevik Revolution later on in this semester, and it is a revolution about having knowledge about what's happening in their country, and they're going to control that knowledge. Are there countries today that control knowledge and control what their citizens know and understand? Is there a country that pops into mind? You can write in the Google chat. I see yeses for that. Okay, someone said communist countries. Yeah. China, for example, has a lot of control. Someone put China has a lot of control about what their citizens can do, can watch, types of religion, things like that. Russia. A lot of people argue that Russia has a lot of control. And Putin, although they say he was elected as this Democratic candidate, a lot of people are saying that that's fake. It's not real. The question was, are there countries today that control their citizens' access to knowledge? Anybody thinking about North Korea? North Korea is a really big one. We're going to look at North Korea. We're going to do a project looking at North Korea later on, and how the Kim dynasty has controlled information and how they get into that. And hopefully we'll be able to do that one in person, because we work with a really cool community partner. But yeah, knowledge is power. And there are people that would say the United States, maybe not the government. Maybe some people do think the government controls information, how we get it. But there are people that say because we are so free, there are corporations or businesses that control information. Okay. So I'm not saying that the United States is guilty of this. I'm just saying that we as citizens need to know that knowledge is power, and that the more knowledge you have, the more freedom you have, the more access to choices. So that all starts with research and accessing that knowledge and accessing what you have. So let's keep going. Where are we today in the history of research? Area 51, nice. Our government had stuff. Yeah, for sure. So where are we in history of research and sharing knowledge today? So let's talk about where we are in history. Like if we looked at our position compared to other parts. So spoken word, people started talking and sharing information through the spoken word about 100,000 years ago. Okay. According to historians. Okay. And there are over 5,000, which blows my mind, 5,000 languages today. Okay. So over 100,000 years ago, spoken word began. Okay. So zoom ahead about 97,000 years, and we see the first written words that we know of. Okay. There might've been written word before that, but the first written words that we know of, and that history shows us was about, 5,000 years ago today. Okay. So 3100 BC, which means, before Common Era, before Christ, some people say, but 3100 Mesopotamia, 3,000 years, 5,000 years ago in Egypt, 3,200 years ago in China, and about 2,300 years ago in Mesoamerica, or like the present day Mexico. Okay, so written word has been around what seems like a really long time for us. Okay, so written word and being able to write down and share that. The printing press, which we'll look at in in a couple of projects, was invented. So the first like actual mass production of writing was a printing press in 1441, and it took 600 times less to create a book. So before the printing press, it took, let's say it took the printing press in 1441, let's say it took a week to make a printing press or to make a book. It would take 600 weeks to create a book before the printing press. So the printing press allows for information like books and pamphlets and things like that to be shared extremely fast compared to what it was before. And that was only 600 years ago. Okay. So not that long ago when we look at the span of history. Okay. Now, if we look at our lifetime, that's a really long time ago for us, 600 years. All right, let's keep going. So the first computer, modern like home computer, was built in 1970. Okay, so this was the first computer in which we're starting to get more into our modern age, in which people have access to information really fast through technology like computers. 1970. Now this is before I was born, so this is over 50 years ago. Maybe some of your parents were alive during that time. Most likely your grandparents were alive during that time, but the first computer came around. Then we saw the internet, 1978, very, very basic concept. Okay. The internet in 1978 was just a link between a couple of computers, very simple, was nothing like we saw today, but they could share from one computer to another computer very quickly. Okay. So this is the first time we see this. So again, before my lifetime, definitely before y'all, it's probably before your parents, maybe your grandparents are alive. So we see our first search engine in 1990. Okay. So this is the first time you can go out to the internet. The internet has grown and you can go out to the internet. The first search engine was called Archie, and it was just a search engine between different colleges. And I think some hospitals were involved, basically where you could go out and find information about classes or, maybe just basic information out there. Very simple, 1990. So I've been born. I'm alive at this point in the history of research and sharing knowledge. I was born in 1984. So I was 6 years old. I had no idea what the internet is, obviously. But search engines had come about. Then we see in 1998, Google emerges. Okay. I'm in 8th grade in middle school. You all are still a few years from even being born.
Just to put that in perspective, I started college.
There you go. Ms. Stockdale was going to college. So 1998. So actually you're right where my brother was. My brother graduated in 1998. So, or high school. So you were probably graduated about the same time, but Google was created in 1998. So that's getting really close to whenever you all are born. So Google comes out on the platform. Funny story about Google. When they first came out with Google, it was just a search bar, and that's all it was. And people would go to it and be like, I don't understand what you're supposed to do with this. And then they type in a word and then pop up hundreds of thousands of links. And today you can see millions or billions of links to just a simple word search. But all of a sudden the world began to really change in that moment. So 1998. So to think about it, you all were probably born, what year were you all born? 2003? 2005.
2005.
2005. Okay. So you all were born whenever I was in college. And you all, I see everybody, 2005, 2006. So 2005 to 2006, you all were born and Google had been around for only 7 years. And guys, in the length of history, 7 years is nothing. It is a snap of the fingers. Okay. So think about it this way. If we go back to the printing press 600 years ago, the next time that we see a change in history as far as how fast information can be spread is within your lifetime, almost within your lifetime, like right before you were born. So you're born into this new era of technology, this new era of research and information. So you are at the birth of this new time. So it's a very exciting time for us as far as growing up in this time, because we're getting to see how information is changing our world so rapidly. Okay, so that gives you perspective on kind of how lucky we are to have this information in front of us. So let's look at some statistics as far as this goes. So if I click on this link here, it's going to take me to a website. And it's kind of hard. It might be hard to see. I'm trying to see what I can see on my other. Okay, it's not too bad. So, and this is a few years old, this website, but it gives you a good idea. It's probably a lot more than this, but still. So every second, you can see at the top, every second there are 85,608 Google searches every second. And you see this up top in the corner. Since I've opened this web page, there's been 2,200,000, and it's probably more than that. You see 2 million, 0.5, 2.6 million, 2.7 million, 2.8 million, 2.9 million, 3 million in the last 37 seconds. So you can see that access to knowledge, access to information is incredibly fast. So let's go, and like each of these G's represents one Google search per second. Okay. Think about how revolutionary that is for, and I'm still scrolling. I'm just scrolling. It's probably not coming through so well on your screen, but you can go into this and look at this yourself. If we go to the very top, we can see some other information, some other information about how technology's changed. So if we look at the top, there are 9,127 tweets every second. There are, scrolling down to the next. So all of those birds are tweets every second. Instagram, there's 1,000 Instagram photos, which I know that's probably very incorrect at this point. That's probably a lot more than it used to be. Because I think this website's a few years old now, and Instagram's kind of popping up in popularity. Tumblr, 1,756 Tumblr posts. 5,000 Skype calls every second, which is probably, if you take in Google Chats and Zooms and things like that, it's probably even more than that now. Here's the really interesting part. Almost over 100,000 gigabytes of internet traffic every second. So the crazy thing you can think about is if you look at like how many books can fit on 1 gigabyte of information, of RAM or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a computer guru, but essentially you can fit hundreds of books on 1 gig of information. Okay? So you go back to the Renaissance and you're looking at that you could all of a sudden share information 600 times faster through the printing press. All of a sudden, we can now share an infinite amount more than that every second. And if we look here, the 2 or 3 minutes that I've been on this website, 16 million gigabytes of information have been shared. That is billions upon trillions of information, books worth of information. Now, is it all very good information? Not necessarily, because we know the internet's full of a lot of garbage, and that's something we're going to talk about later. But let's keep going down. So lots of gigabytes of internet traffic. Oh my goodness, so much. I'm going to have to go over and scroll because it's just so much. Google searches, YouTube videos, almost 100,000 videos are viewed every second. Emails, over 3 million emails are sent every second. So since we've started this, almost 1 billion emails have been sent to the world. And I mean, you can just scroll through. And just to see, I think the rest of this page is basically just email. Just to give you an idea of how many 3 million is. I'm scrolling just past literally millions of emails on this. So that gives you a little perspective on how much information is zoomed throughout the world and that is available to us every second of every day. This link will take you to just to see like how many Google searches have been done so far today. So just today, since 10 o'clock, we've seen 3 billion Google searches. And there's so many other internet sites out there that you can search like that. So something to think about. Pretty interesting. So the next question is, if Google is doing this much, does Google have too much power? So I want you to think about that, okay? Does Google have too much power? If people are using Google as much as they are, and we say information is power or knowledge is power, and they're controlling how people access knowledge, does Google have too much power? Okay, so there is a debate today, and it has been in the last few years, of whether Google should be regulated by the government. Okay, and saying, because you can go to Google and you can pay to have an ad and have your Google search pop up first. So is that too much power? So that's something I want you to think about. All right, some people have spoken up. So some people are saying, I think so. Yes, they sell their data to Africa. Okay, that's another big thing. Should internet sites like Google, Facebook, Twitter, all these different sites, should they be able to sell your information when they use your product? Alan says no. Lucas says no, it's just a search engine. William says they might show some information wrong. Just says no. Google CEO is adorable. He wouldn't hurt anyone. Okay, I don't know who Google CEO is at this point. They use statistics to target sales. Yep. I use DuckDuckGo, not Google. Yep, my wife uses DuckDuckGo. She's a big fan. So I've seen that argument. But it's something I want y'all thinking about, okay, is we so blindly just say that going out and getting information is fine, but we forget to think about, man, how are they using that power? And I'm glad to see that a lot of you all are saying and thinking about this at this point. The government can use it to track down wanted people or bad people. Okay, should the government have access to that? Yes, you agree to selling your stuff when you made an account. Yeah, so Austin's in here saying in the fine details, when you created an account, when you go to these websites, you're agreeing that they have access because they're a business. So there's arguments on both sides. There's arguments saying they're businesses, they're allowed to do. If you're using their business, you're agreeing to what they want to do. And there's other people saying, well, they control all this information and they're like, I have to use them to be able to gain access. So I don't have a choice. I need the government to come in there. So we're getting onto the political spectrum. We're getting ahead of ourselves in this class. We're talking about that political spectrum of the role of government, what we should do with all this. So it's really great that you all are talking about that. Okay. Okay. So they should stay neutral. Okay. As far as politics goes, and others could use it to do illegal stuff. Yeah. So good. I'm glad you guys are in this mindset thinking about this. Okay. So switching gears, let's talk about Wikipedia, because I know all of y'all have used Wikipedia before. I love Wikipedia. Wikipedia is an amazing website. It is, think about this. Wikipedia is a free website with incredible amounts of information, and they do not pay people. I think they do pay some people, but for the most part, 99% of what people put onto Wikipedia is done for free. That is an amazing accomplishment of the human race. If we look at Wikipedia and you say, how did this happen? It is a great accomplishment, okay? But the question is it good or evil? So it's another one of those kind of debates, okay? So as a facilitator, as a teacher, here's what I have to say about it. Number one, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going back and looking what y'all are putting. Okay, so now we're getting into like cameras on phones. Okay, all right, so let's move on to Wikipedia. So as a facilitator, as a teacher, you doing educational research, this is what I say. Number one, it is a great place to start, okay? It provides organized information with a user-friendly interface, okay? And it has tons of information. If I want to go and Google or Wikipedia lightsabers from Star Wars, I'm going to get the most detailed description of what lightsabers are, how they're built, how they're used in the movies, how we could actually build one in real life. Incredible amount of information. If I want to go and look at the Bolshevik Revolution or World War II or information concerning history. Amazing amount of detail, amazing amount of information. However, so great place to start. However, it's a terrible source to provide authority because anyone can go in and make a page. Anyone can edit a page. And I know that they are regulating that. And there are people that are being certified to say that they can or cannot change these webs or these sources. But the fact that they don't have the credentials necessarily, it's hard to trust that source sometimes, okay? Because anyone can change it. So here's an example of how this works. Now, I'm not sure this YouTube video is going to play very well, so I'm actually just going to tell you. You can go and look at this YouTube video later because I don't think it's going to show very well through my speakers and things like that. But essentially what this is, it's a news story covering how back a few years ago, Burger King had this great idea to go on to, you know how you have those little discs in your house and you can be like, hey, Google, or you can be like, hey, Alexa, or whatever, those questioning. Hold on just a second, sorry. Yep. So you can type new things in the article. But so Burger King said, I am going to, we're going to have a commercial where they actually say, hey, Google, tell me about the Whopper. And it was triggering people's Google devices or Alexas or whatever those devices are called in people's people's homes. And it would start telling the people in the house about the Whopper. Okay. And it would start going on to like the Whopper is a hamburger from Burger King with a whole wheat bun and hamburger patty, lettuce, tomato, pickle, whatever. It was going into the detail. Well, people started figuring out that was doing that. So they found out that it was pulling the information from Wikipedia. So some people, some hackers, some trolls, you might say, went out onto Wikipedia and changed the wording of what the description of the Burger King Whopper was. So this commercial kept playing, and it started playing that the Whopper was made of human flesh and that it had dog meat in it and that it had all these horrible things. So if you're really interested, later on, go and look at that news article. But it basically shows that Wikipedia can be changed and it's not a great source for authority. And what I mean by authority is that we don't necessarily have only experts that are changing things on that website. So it really needs to be paid attention to. All right, so let's go to the next one. Use the sources provided what you should do is use the sources provided in the Wikipedia page to continue and verify your research, okay? So let's go and look at this, okay? So I'm going to take you to the Whopper webpage right now, and it's going to give you information on the Whopper, right? But look down here at the bottom, okay? All the way at the bottom, you'll see that there are references, okay? So these are books, articles, references to where they got the information from their reading. And you can actually see it. Like if we looked at this naming and trademark for the Whopper, you can tell when Burger King was expanded into the San Antonio area, it was prevented and utilized the name Whopper and its local advertising due to its prior state registered service mark owned local chain known as the Whopper. And then I can go to this 111 and I can look, where did they find this information? Oh, it came from a book, Fundamentals of Financing. That is a good source, okay? Wikipedia, not a strong source. But looking at the source it got the information from, we can go down here, and there are over 113 sources used to reference and use this. So Wikipedia, great place to start, but use the sources down below to learn a little bit more and to actually find those really good sources that have authority, okay? We'll talk about that more in a second. So going back. So long story short, Wikipedia is a good place to start and then go on to something that has better authority. So let's actually talk about what, yes, that is an epic troll. I like that someone put that about the Burger King. Pretty funny, actually. So let's go on and talk about what smart research is. Taking all this information that we've been thinking about, let's think about what smart research is. So we're going to do SMART, and each letter stands for a different idea as we're researching. So first off, if you're going to write anything down, this is what you need to write down. This is what you need to remember about research. So first off, when you're researching, keep it simple. Okay. So let's say we go to Google. Let's say we're going to DuckDuckGo. Let's say we're going to whatever you choose to use, Yahoo.com, whatever you're researching, or you're going to a library index, whatever it might be. Start simple. Okay. Keep your searches simple. When you're searching for information concerning future employment, search for work environment plumber. Okay. Don't go and type in what is the work environment for a plumber in Owensboro, Kentucky, during September. That is way too complicated of a search. You want to find something specific, so keep it simple. Okay, so avoid complicated research like what is the work environment for a plumber in Kentucky hour salary context. Okay, so simple searches. That's the first thing. Second thing, the M, multiple. Make multiple searches, changing the way you look for information. Okay. So you want to look in different ways at different places because the algorithms set up for these search engines, set up in the way that we look for information, you're going to get different information as you search different things. So an example, if you're wanting to be a plumber and you're looking at different work environments, you might say work environment plumber, hours of work plumber, average hours for a plumber and vacation time, physical demands plumber. So you're going to be looking and making multiple searches as you do your searches. So that's M, multiple. All right. A, accurate. Okay. So we want to make sure our searches are accurate. We run into this all the time whenever we're talking about history. Okay. So make sure your searches are accurate. Know what you're looking for and use context in your search. So avoid homonyms, avoid multiple definitions, context. So we've been talking about the Bolshevik or the Russian Revolution. A lot of people will look up communism because they're trying to research because the Bolshevik Revolution has to do with communism. Okay. And they'll look up communism and they'll find different definitions for modern day communism versus what communism was for the Bolsheviks. Or they might look up symbolism and find the wrong term, the wrong context for that. So you have to make sure you're accurate in your searches. So simple, multiple, accurate. The next is rigor. Okay. Research must be rigorous. Okay. So what do I mean by rigorous? It means it needs to be full, fluid, maxed out. Like you need to continue to search and make sure you find that it's thorough and exhaustive. Okay. Simply said, don't simply trust the first website you see. Okay. You don't need to trust the first thing you see because it might not be trustworthy. Okay. So you need to continue to search. Be rigorous in your search. You should look at least 3 websites before you can prove your research is accurate. Okay. So you need to find multiple sources in which you need to make sure that you're being accurate. All right. Hey, slow down on the talk unless you're asking questions and things like that. So, okay. The last one is test. When you find what you are looking for, test the information. It is easy to find what you want, but can you test your research and find conflicting information? So test your information. Is it accurate? Is it true? Is it real? Okay. So you might research UK basketball is the best program in the nation. Okay. It's easy to find someone that's going to say that. Okay. Because they are one of the best programs in the nation with their championships and things like that. But can you do the inverse? Can you find something that says that UK basketball is a terrible basketball program? So that is a good way to test and make sure that your research is real, it's good, it's trustworthy. Okay. All right. So that is smart research. Okay. So let's go back over to Echo. Now let's look at what we're going to do for the rest of class. So the last thing that we have, I've missed this. So smart research, advanced Google search. There is an opportunity to look in here at advanced searches. And if you just go to this website, it's a way to look more specifically for something in Google. And there's also ways to do this, like with the way you type it in. I'm not going to go over all that, but if you just want to look for, I want to look for something with all of these words. So I'm looking for plumber work hours, but I don't want anything on a contractor. Okay, I don't want to know about contractors, so on and so forth. So you can make that search and it'll make sure none of those words are in it. Some of these, so you might need that at some point, but that is available to you if you need it. You won't need it today, but available to you later if it's something you want to look at. All right, so the last thing we have is benchmark 2. This is your assignment for the day that I'm going to leave you with. And you guys have about 45 minutes to work on that. So plenty of time to get this done. So for this assignment, get my face somewhere. For this assignment, you will find 4 sources to better understand your future career and how to become a member of the profession. So you're going to go out and do some research, okay? Use the Google Doc template provided below to help in your search for sources concerning your chosen profession. So you're going to use the template to kind of find your way. Now you can use Google, DuckDuckGo, you can use whatever search engine you want. I usually use Google, but you can use whatever you want. So again, you're going to use the create an attachment from templates. I'm going to go over how to do this. I'm going to scroll down. You're going to click on create an attachment from the template. It will create the attachment. It will be available to you right there. Now you're going to go ahead and do it. Don't wait. Go ahead and hit submit my work. It'll submit the work for you. I'm not going to click it because I'm going to show the other class how to do this. So click submit my work, and then you go over to the little open button and you open up the document, and that is your copy to work on, okay? So this is your kind of worksheet, Google Doc sheet to actually work from, okay? So show that one more time for you all who are still doing it. And the instructions are right up here. You're going to hit, I'll get rid of this. I'm going to click create an attachment from template, and then you're going to hit, it's going to be right there. You're going to hit submit my work and then open up the document. So let's take a look. I'm getting rid of it so I can show the other class later, but let's look at this document together. So I'm going to give everybody about 30 seconds to do it. All right, so there are 4 spaces here, one for each of your websites, okay? And we went ahead and put together some ideas on what websites you should look for. So the first website is going to be career information. The second website is going to be career information with a description of the skills needed to fulfill the job. The third is going to be a college or trade school that you can use to be trained for that profession. And then a hiring website, someone that's actually looking a hiring website that you can actually like see what they're looking for when they're hiring for that position. Okay. So in each of these, so let's look at the website, first one together. We'll do this one together and then look at each one. So you can search for your career at this website. So this is the same website where you did the little career test, but this link will take you, if we open up this link, take us to another page. So for each of these, it's going to take you basically to somewhere that you can search for a career. So you're going to take this, and then you're going to go over to this search bar. So everybody should be doing this with me. So on that first benchmark 2, first box, you're going to click on that link, and it's going to take you to this link. And it says at the top, your free career test. And you're actually going to look at that search bar on the top right-hand corner, right up here, and you're going to search the job that you want. So I'm going to search teacher, okay? Just put in the profession, whatever you're looking to research, whatever you wrote in benchmark 1, and then you're going to hit search. And that's going to pop up a bunch of different teacher positions or jobs that I can use. I want to find the one that I want, okay? And it can't, if you don't find exactly what you're looking for, that's okay. Find something close. Like I want to be a high school teacher. I scroll down. I can see, let's see here. Did I miss it? Oh, what does a high school teacher do? What does a post-secondary teacher do? So I'm going to click on there. What does the high school teacher do? And this is the website that I want, okay? So I can look through here and there's like information on what a high school teacher does, how to become a high school teacher, job description, high school teacher career info, all of this. So it gives me kind of a snapshot of what a high school teacher does and information about that. Okay. So I'm going to go and copy and paste. So I'm going to copy that link that I just got with the information concerning high school teacher. And I'm going to go put that into benchmark 2 under that first line. So come back over and look at benchmark 2 with me in the Google Meet. And you're going to copy and paste that website with the teacher. It should say the job on the end of it. So that website that I'm using. And then I'm going to look for 3 general facts, statistics, or ideas from that website. So real quick, I'm just going to read through and I'm going to pull 3 ideas from it. Okay. So my first one might come from, what does a high school teacher do? So I'm going to read through this and it's going to say, they help students meeting state standards in their academic and state high school graduation requirements. Okay. So I am just going to go ahead and copy and paste that information. So that's a good snippet of information for me to help students meet state standards in academics and high school graduation requirements. Okay, you can also write in your own words. We're just doing research right now, so we're pulling big information. The next one I want to pull from is how to become a high school teacher. So a high school teacher must earn a bachelor's degree, and many states require them to major in the subject areas they teach. Boom, that's perfect. I'm going to take that information. We're going to put that under number 2. A high school teacher must earn a bachelor's degree and get in the subject that I'm going to be teaching. So job description, I might pull something from that. Okay. High school teachers grade each student's work, meet with parent facility, they monitor the class and enforce school rules. Some teachers may coach sports and lead clubs. So I want to talk about the fact that, and actually up here it says they strive to motivate and challenge their students and may teach in large classroom settings or in small groups. So that's kind of a job description part. So I'm just pulling 3 facts or statistics just to kind of like gauge what this website's about. Okay. So you're going to do that for the rest of the websites, for all the websites. So this one will take you to the BLS.gov, same system. You're going to go to that website, search right here. You're going to search the handbook and that little search, and don't go up here. You can, but this one's easier because it'll stay in the occupation handbook. So I'm going to do teacher again. Same thing. You're going to find another website that has to do with teacher. So high school teacher. And I'd use that website and do the same thing for website 2. Now website 3 is a little bit different. So everybody look at website 3 with me. This is a college/trade school that offers education for your profession. Now you might say, I don't need to go to college for my profession. That's fine. I understand that. But I still want you to find a program that offers training outside of high school. Okay. So go in and you're going to actually Google or whichever website you prefer your career and the word college. So I'm going to do like teacher and the word college, and it will pop up colleges for teachers. Okay. Or you can do smart research, find a college website, copy and paste it right here and put 3 facts, statistics, or ideas below. You can do that for the 4th website as well, the hiring website, which is Indeed.com. Let's look at that really quick. And this is where you're actually going to go look for your job. So I might type in here teacher, okay? And I might want to live in Raleigh, North Carolina someday, or I might want to live in Owensboro or wherever, okay? So let's search for jobs for teachers in Owensboro. And look, already I found some jobs, okay? You're going to pick one of these, like an online teacher, and then you're going to look through this information, okay? You can also say open, well, I won't let you do that. But you can copy and paste this link and get information like how much they make an hour, the degree that you need, and some other information, okay? So I'm just having you kind of do some broad research using some of the websites that we've given you all and go from there. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and excuse you from the Google Meet. You can go and work on this. Make sure you get this done today. It's due by the end of class, so you have about 30 minutes to work on this. So get started on this. Yeah, you should have time to get this finished. And you know what? Actually, I'll say that if you don't get this finished, go ahead and submit what you have, and I'll give you all a little bit of time tomorrow to work on this, maybe at the beginning of class. But let's get started on this. 30 minutes should be enough. But let's get this done. Thanks, guys. If you need help, please stay in the Google Meet and we'll talk about it. Whew, that was a long one. Like an hour. Jeez.